Hello. Have you ever thought about how it is you tune in to other people, especially those of the opposite sex? Men and women are different. And my goal is to help all different types of men and women understand and value and tune in to each other in a new narrative, a new way of seeing misunderstandings, of getting past blocks and boundaries and obstacles. My passion in doing this is understanding myself. Over a lifetime of being a very masculine-minded woman, I sought to find out how my sisters and my brothers were different to me. I design gender dynamics intelligence for you. So today is a first lesson, an overview of what I found to be the best way to do this. And I'm going to use the whiteboard to illustrate a way of understanding some very basic core behaviour. Now, our core behaviour comes from our operating pattern. And what do I mean by that? It comes from whether we're logical or intuitive, whether we see things in straight lines or we see them in curves. And what I discovered is that men in general see things in straight lines and in topic centres, very much either or, task focused. So I decided to create a map for everyone to be in. So let's put the whole map into a territory. So inside here we have men and women. And as I said, men are very straightforward, very logical, very linear. So let's make a shape that represents the male. So M here stands for male. And what we discover is that there's a lot of straight lines in here, which end up being boxes, topics, aspects of task that men would like to get to fruition, to get to be successful. Now, women are different. The female of the species has a much more circular way of doing things. If you like, our hormones affect us. In the baseline here, men's hormones are testosterone. For women, it's estrogen, it's menstrual cycles. It's everything to do with the circle. And within the circle, there are more circles. So here we have extending circles, meeting straight lines. What does this mean for you? Is it just that we're male and female? No, we're not. There are other aspects to us that come into play when we're out there in the world together. Now, my goal in understanding this for you is that you find a way to have amazing conversations, communication, and relationships with everybody that you meet. But we know there are difficulties out there. Not everything is straightforward. So what I thought about when I looked at whether men and women were different, I thought, well, not all men are the same, and not all women are the same. So we need to find some way of defining that. And my experience as an image consultant, I discovered there was amazing assessment one could make from actual body shape, from our skeleton, from the way we stood, from the way we are in the world. And in a second or third lesson, we will go more and deeper into that. At this first stage, we're just going to explore another aspect, which is the masculine and the feminine. Now, what I'd like to say here is that these are all energies. So the first operating pattern we looked at was biology and physicality and some neuroscience about brains. Men's a very singular brain, women have a multifaceted brain. And again, we will come back to more information on this in further lessons. But here we want to just understand that the different types of men range from being masculine-minded men to feminine-minded men, and so do women. So women range from being masculine-minded women to feminine-minded women. So what I discovered was, as my brain was rather masculine, I needed some way of designing a code. So I started looking at the code which said, okay, if I'm a female, I'm definitely here, but I have a masculine mind. So here I am, sitting on this part of the map. Yes, that was great. Understood now. I'm all female. I've got this operating pattern which is very and, it's inclusive, it's circular, it's emotional, it's menstrual, it's nurturing. But I have this masculine mind which kind of directs me, especially when I'm under stress. Again, we'll come back to stress factors and personality and differences in another lesson. But here we're just going to look at the basic. So masculine-minded men would sit here, and I knew that my masculine-minded brother would be thinking often the same as me, but biologically and operating pattern would be different. And therefore my code went on to find that we have feminine-minded females and feminine-minded males. So given this map, I started seeing a way of directing people across the map. So that once I knew where I was, so I was here, I understood now my own brothers and sisters, my familial brothers and sisters, and also my brothers and sisters at work, in the workplace, in the community, on Zoom, online, face-to-face. It doesn't matter where we meet people, we need to understand how we tune in together. So for me to know that I was there, I could now start planning routes across to other types. But understanding the other types was going to be very important. Now that is for the next lesson. For here now, this is the basic map. 2 operating patterns, very different. One is yes, no, either or task. The other is and, circular, relational. We all have masculine and feminine energy, but the preference we show enables us to see whether we are an MF, a masculine-minded female, an FF, a feminine-minded female, an FM, a feminine-minded male, or an MM, a masculine-minded male. And what we're going to do is we're going to develop archetypes for these 4 characters so we can then spread ourselves around and understand how to walk across the whole map for any situation. That's what is important, is knowing who I am, knowing who you are, and knowing how to traverse the space between us. For now, I'm going to leave you with this thought. A gender dynamics intelligence is a way that men and women can gain a greater understanding and therefore dissolve difficult situations, difficult conversations, and really get away from misunderstandings to true understanding. Then we can take the next step. Thank you for being here. I'll see you at the next lesson.